Guys, what's up? It's Matt with 86 Gaming, and as I promised, we're finally getting to this build log. If you're watching this, as long as it's not too far into the future, this is going to be my giveaway PC for the 1,000 subscribers that I'm like 300 subscribers behind on. But finally, I have the opportunity to do it, and we're going to do that. If you're interested in winning this PC, be sure and stick around or look for the video that has the enter to win on it. I'll make it last long enough so everybody has a fair chance at it in case you see this a little bit later. Anyways, guys, I want to say thank you for 1,000 subscribers. Let's start building this PC and see what we can come up with. Hopefully everything will go as according to plan and be great. If not, oh well, it'll be a fun thing to do anyways. Hey guys, what's up? It's Matt with 86 Gaming, and real quick I want to introduce the PC I've been working on that I've been promising for a while. I finally got around to doing it, and while I did a lot of video about it, putting it together and whatnot, we're going to more or less just go over what a lot of it has to offer inside of it, as well as any problems I encountered, things like that, because there just got to be too much in the way of everything going on right now for me to just do a complete comprehensive build guide. But I'm not going to leave you in the dust. If you're interested in building, if you want to know things about the particular parts, maybe it's your first PC, we'll go over a few things so that we're making sure that we're keeping the people that have never done this before a little bit in tune with what's going on with what I did. Now, you may also be somebody who's far better than me and mod your own cases and know so much about everything, because that's the generation coming up nowadays. No offense, you millennials. But let's go ahead and take a look at it. I call it Chromatic Chaos. And that's just because I was looking at all the crazy colors going on in it, and I said, hey, sure, that sounds like it might make sense. We'll talk about a little bit of what's inside, and then, at the end of this video, I'm going to start working on the giveaway video. So if you're interested in wanting this computer, and you need something or just want something better, an upgrade maybe you don't have a gaming computer, be sure and enter to win so we can give some lucky person a new PC. Anyways, guys, let's talk a little bit about what's inside and go from there. All right, so just real quick, we'll go over a little bit of everything I'm using here. This is the EVGA 1070 that we're going to be putting in here, the Aorus K7 Z270X motherboard. We got a Cryorig H7 cooler here. I've got 4 Thermaltake ring fans, 3 of which are RGB. This one's just going to be for a little extra style in the back because I wasn't considering that I needed another RGB one. My mistake. We've got a Trident Z RGB here, a Corsair CX750M modular power supply. That way we can kind of cut down on the cable clutter, as cable clutter in this case will be apparent, and that's something we want to avoid. I'd recommend modular for a more open case like this. We've got our 2 terabyte Fire CUDA. We've got an NVMe by Crucial for 275 gigabytes of SSD NVMe memory, the i7-7700K Kaby Lake, and a bunch of random screws, some 3M stick stuff if we need it, the fan controller for the RGB, and that's pretty much it right now. So we're going to start putting it together and seeing what we think. Oh yeah, I got these too. I was just letting them stretch out. These are our Phanteks magnetic extra LED lighting for RGB awesomeness, because it's the best thing in the world, right? Anyways, let's move on and start putting it together. All right, so looking at a few things first. This is the N1303 chassis. I did a review on this a long time ago, and it's probably not a very good review. Everything I look back on, I tend to not like so much. But this chassis is the N1303. It's tempered glass, which I'll show you shortly. We'll be able to just put it on there, pop it closed. If you're interested in more about this tower, there's tons of good reviews out there. Hardware Canucks did a great one on it. And of course, you can go look at mine too, but I believe it'll probably pale in comparison to his excellence at everything. Anyways, so checking into this a little bit more. What I did is we have a beehive that segregates up here the attic basement area, which, I say attic basement, kind of, contradicting, I guess. Most PCs will have a basement at the bottom where you can put the PSU in and it's shrouded. Well, this isn't shrouded, but it is a separated beehive design behind these 3 fans that you see here. On the other side is the power supply. One issue I did have with the power supply was the power supply had to go in one orientation only. So if you wanted it pulling cool air from the outside, that wasn't an option. Maybe with some sort of modification or bracket or some jimmy way of putting it on there, then you could do that. But it has to be so that the fan on the grill of the CX750M power supply that I used, which is a modular power supply, more on that in a second, is that way we're pulling air in. So these are also, of course, designed to push air out. So it's not only pulling the air in, it's taking air, you're pushing air out into the power supply. I don't know, does that make sense? These fans are pushing this way, and the power supply on the other side is pulling the air in where it is back here at the top. The other side of the grill is pretty much open, minus the controller hub for these 3 fans. These 3 fans have a controller hub mounted in there with 3M tape at the top, low profile enough and out of the way, and I sort of worked, or as best I could, move the cables around so that you wouldn't be able to see them if you were looking really hard. Now if you look hard enough, you'll see some of the cables at the top here. This tower is not the best for cable management. That is something that should be said. You really want to go with something modular. This is, of course, my opinion. Maybe you don't want to, but you want to go with a modular power supply to cut down on cables you don't need, because hiding them behind here, even behind the motherboard tray, can be a little complicated in the N1303. But aside of that, it's beautiful. You could see if that we wanted to go with some pump assembly and a whole liquid cooling closed loop setup, something like that, we have tons of room to do that with. You also have your SSD mounts here. I didn't use them. Why? Because we went with an NVMe M.2 Crucial 275 gigabytes for our OS and our immediate files, things like that. And in the back, I took a 2.5-inch hard drive, the Fire CUDA, that's 2 terabytes. It's a solid-state hybrid drive, and hopefully more on that unless I forget to. Attached it to the back so it's out of the way, because it's really ugly compared to everything else we have going on in here. So putting the fans up was the very first step I needed to do. Then I put the power supply in at the back. Moving on from that, I then attached this 120 right here on the back. This is another ring fan. It's not an RGB one. If you wanted to change that later, you could easily. So again, not an RGB one, just a white light one. I figured it was a nice little accent light in there. We went with some real easy lighting on the inside of the case as well, which I'll cover more in a second too. This is just magnetic strip Phanteks lights. They were like $15 for a 2-pack, and I thought that's a pretty good deal for something that's not eBay China. So anyways, this is the CryoRig H7, and this thing does admirably well with the 7700K Intel processor inside. This is just an aesthetic choice more than anything for me at first. When I was debating, do I want to go with something like the Kraken X62? Do we want to do, the closed loop liquid cooling? Do we want to do, what did we want to do? And I decided I wanted to go with a nice, good looking air cooler that was going to match well and look good with the rest of the tower. So going with the whole Aorus Z270X K7 motherboard here, I figured that the white and black on this would be just a nice complement to it. I wish I could find something a little bit better that I wanted to do with the graphics card. The EVGA GTX 1070 for the Win Edition down in here. It's nice. It has RGB control as well. You can download the software, which I did. I've downloaded and installed all the software for these things so that you can go match them as best if you want, or if you like it kind of like the way I do here, I just goes through random colors. Trident Z RGB also adds to a nice effect with the RGB colors. I thought that was a good choice. It's 16 gigabytes of the Trident Z RGB in here. And why did I go with 16? Because it's my dime. I don't think people need too much more than that. If you're doing a lot of high-end stuff, you might want a little bit more. But you can easily upgrade to 32 gigabytes just, if it's something to save you a dime, if you're the person that ends up with this PC, go buy 2 more matching sticks. They're running in dual channel, 2 8 gigabyte modules, and that should handle pretty well pretty much everything you want. And hopefully you'll have a great time with that. On top of how good it looks, there is software for this too. I have the beta software installed for it, so you can go in there and do some controls with it if you want to change the way it looks, or you want to try to match it or sync it a little bit better with other things. That should work out good for you. Installing everything went pretty well. Now, no one who builds can say 100% they're flawless all the time when they're trying to do different stuff. I could slap together a pretty simple PC and do it 100% accurately, but like I was kind of telling you with these fans, you always kind of run into some problems. And when I was putting these fans in, I realized, well, I should back up a little bit. I put the power supply in first, as I do with most towers. I usually start with the power supply, mounting my hard drives, and kind of going that route. But within this case, what I had to do was I had to take the power supply back out, then I had to go back and put the fans in, which makes sense if I would have slowed down and thought about it. But people don't get discouraged when you're doing things like cable management or trying to figure things out. There have been times where I have completely disassembled a rig just to get one cord where I wanted it to be. That way I'd put it all back together and it would be cleanly out of the way. Now, I'm not 100% happy with the way everything looks in here, but hopefully it looks pretty decent to those of you able to see this and enjoy it aesthetically. Anyways, I hope it is. Going over the parts again a little bit from start to finish, we got the Aorus Z270X K7 edition. The K7, the difference between the K7 and 7 edition is I/O connections on the back. One thing to note about this though, you don't have your built-in Wi-Fi card with it. So you'll either need a Wi-Fi card, a USB dongle, you're going to hardline it in, then those are your options. That's something I really didn't consider until too late in the game. So I was just sort of using a little USB dongle with an antenna back here to get the things I needed done on it. This might not be optimal for a lot of people interested in doing a lot more. You can also just drop down and put in a nice card down here if you wanted to. Add a little bit more bulk to the inside of your case, if that's something you wanted to do. Most people are probably going to go with, just putting it in the land port in the back and enjoying from there. So altogether, we're looking at a decent amount of money. I'll have to sit down and do the math, to be honest with you. All purchased over time, picked up over time. You guys watching videos have helped pay for some of this with the channel revenue, and that way I can give back to people, so that's something that's fun and exciting to do as well. And hopefully as more things come in, we'll be able to do more of these and do that, because I like giving back to the community. That's just something I enjoy. If you have any questions about it, be sure and let me know. I did record me putting most of this together, but like I said, just got a lot going on in the real world and whatnot. So that makes things a little more, complicated to keep up with, I suppose. Anyways, let me know if you have any specific questions. If I'm missing anything, I'll try to make sure I add it to this video before I go through any kind of finalization setup. All the software was really easy to use and to sync. One of the things that you may be wondering about are these Phanteks lights right here. Now they come with a 4-pin. The motherboard has a 5-pin connection. Can you connect it? Yes, you can connect it. Absolutely can. You just want to put your 12-volt pin in first, and make sure that the far right one is exposed, and you should be good to go. All we did was do that, and it connects and it talks to the motherboard fine. The lights inside, they're working in tandem with the lights on the motherboard to change, fade, do all the effects that are necessary with that. Ultimately, this is a great tower, and I'm going to be jealous. I'm going to be really jealous. Whoever wins this, you're going to make me one jealous person. So let's go on and look at some other things maybe. I try to do a little bit more with this video before we close it out and I start working on the giveaway video. Like I said, guys, if you have any questions before the giveaway video comes, be sure and let me know down below so that I can try and answer them for you. If you want to know anything specific or have any recommendations or ideas even, what else can I do to make it more better? So let me know. Guys, that's pretty much it. That's all I have to really cover with this. Like I said, if I missed anything, post down below. Following this clip of me saying goodbye, have a great day, night, whatever it is, I'll post some of the benchmark results I accomplished with it, just so you can see if you're curious. We were going to do the 3D Mark, but I'm having issues with that right now. But hopefully I'll get that resolved and we can get that posted later if you have any questions about it. I'll post it in a link to the website where you can see pictures of each one. But after this, we'll look at Unigine Valley, Unigine Heaven, so you can get an idea of the hardware and performance inside of it. Anyways, guys, have a great day, night, whatever it is, and look forward to this, as the giveaway will be coming soon, short here after this video. The giveaway video will be coming shortly after this, so stay tuned for that if you're interested in it, and good luck. I wish that I could give one to everybody, but I hope that somebody who really needs it wins. And anyways, guys, once again, have a great day, night, whatever it is. I'll see you in the next one. I don't know if that statement made sense. Let me try again.